All right, so we're in the Lizzie rig, and I'm just showing that there's layers set up into folders. So cab assembly, that is the entire assembly uh, of this part of Lizzie. Um, so if I eyeball it off, it's all of that set of assets. And then this is the truck bed here. And then the wheels are in folders as well. Sometimes it's tricky naming left or right because we do swaps where you just kind of flip the character around. For the truck one, we did driver and passenger. And then the mixer assembly is kind of a complicated little rig because there's some animation built into it. You can see that it's a spinning animation, which all we're doing there is taking that kind of Coca-Cola shape and moving it up on a mask. So that's the way that that's rigged. A lot of you all are doing characters that have pretty small eyes, but for the eyes for Lizzie, the way that they're set up is they're inside of a mask. So I've got the, if I unlock everything, you can see that there's a mask. Let me zoom in on it. There's a mask on the top, so I'm going to eyeball that off. The whole circle of the eye, I've got the mask turned off, is just moving inside. So I'm not cutting that. I just have the same eye shape that I'm moving around. And you can see I just did a flip right here. Okay. Once I start getting into the rig. If I lock everything, that will put the mask back on. And now I've got that eye moving inside of that shape. I have a demo for the masking of the eye on the website. It's one of the more complicated things that we do with character rigging. And so you might want to take a look at that. Let me jump back over here and show you how we use the frame picker, which is a really cool part of Animate in order to be able to change these assets. So I'm going to click V or the move tool. I'm going to click on the eye. And in properties, I'm going to pull up the frame picker. It's underneath looping if you don't have it already. So let me pull this down because Lizzie's got more eyes. So if I wanted to change her eye position, I would just frame pick another eye position, right? So because these are keyframes that are running down the timeline, I can just kind of pick whichever one would kind of match what I'm going for. So it's actually probably if I try to remember which one it was now, there we go, it's that one. So any questions about kind of setting up those more complicated rigs when it comes time for it for you all? Have you all done masking? Is that something that you've done in animation processes? Do you need me to show you how to do that?
I've seen it done before, but will you go over it again, please?
Sure, sure. Let me stop my share and show you the, okay, so now I'm showing the internet here. And if we go to 2D character design, I'm in the, are you all seeing my website?
Yep.
Okay, yes. Thanks. Okay, so this this page is the character rigging analyze files. So on the side, analyze files, character rigging. There are a couple of different things to look at here. This is a demo rig, animate, masking, and eyeball assembly with sound on your Google Drive folder. Click to expand. So this runs through it, Sarah. But I will also show this to you right now in person because I can do it pretty quickly too. This is a 37-minute animation. Hey, this is Susan Bonner. I'm going to do and we run through the masking of these eyeballs here. I've got like a little demo that I do where it runs through that. I think that might actually be even more helpful than me doing it in person right now. Do you think that will work for you, Sarah, to watch that video?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. And then how about that? You watch the video and then if you have questions, the next class we can go through solving that, okay? Because
Okay,
this actually goes through how to actually run that mask. So this is the simplified form. It's not the rendered fancy version, which is what I was showing you in Animate over here. Okay, so let me take you back to my screen on Lizzie. If I do click into this eyeball, just to kind of summarize it, the first thing to do with the masking is to just have the full shape. And then you do a drawing of what you want to show. So it's like a drawing of this shape of the eye. I could actually go and find that white shape, copy it, paste it in place above on a different layer, then change it to a color like green, and then mask it. But you'll see it in that video example because I've already kind of run through that. If we go back to Lizzie and take a look at a few of the other rigged assets, like I've shown you the mouth before, but this is the mouth set where we can choose where I've made all of the assets for the mouth. If we go back out to the assembly, this is where when we're animating, we choose what the mouth might look like. So if I go to her mouth, it's inside the cap assembly. So I need to find it there. There's the mouth. I can then go to frame picker and choose from any mouth. So we can make her shocked or happy or confused. So that's the function of that. But when we go into the mouth, when we're building it, you're building down the timeline. So you want to make sure that as you build, you have a symbol. And so we made a symbol for the mouth, and then click into the symbol, and then you start to build your time along your timeline. Does everybody kind of understand that process? Symbol building shouldn't be new to you if you've taken animation processes before, but hopefully it's a little review for you. Okay. The next thing that I want to do is, let me share my other screen. Okay, are you all seeing this internet, the Chrome?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Inside that same page, Analyze Files for Character Rigging, there are several files that you can look at and try to analyze. So this file, 2D Character Design Rigs, we've been looking at a truck file so far, so it might be helpful for you to see a file that has like the Little Pony or Tyler rig. And so this is the 2D Character Design Rigs file. This is a file to look at. In addition to, you know, these are files that we've kind of been analyzing so far. And down on the bottom over here is the folder setup method for Rupert and Biff. That's a file that we're going to look at today. So I'm going to open up the 2D Character Design Rigs file and share that screen with you. Okay, so I'm back in Animate. Do you all see the 6 characters there?
Yep.
Okay, super cuties, here they are, and this is their full rig set. And the way that we're able to do that, where they're all on one timeline, is that this is their what we're calling assembly. Like we saw Lizzie had her assembly. If I click onto the library, this is where when you have multiple characters, it's helpful to really name them by their people's names. So here's the Lizzie assets all into one folder, and there's the Lizzie mixer assembly. I really need to find Lizzie assembly. Here she is. There it's saving. Okay, so Lizzie assembly, I just had it before. So this is her whole character. And that's what we call it when we're trying to pass the characters from person to person. And so you just make a new symbol with all of the assets inside of that. So if I were to click into Lizzie assembly from the properties, this is all of the layers set up for that. And this has an animation because it's already been animated, but yours at this point might just be the first keyframe is what you would have. No need for right now for you to have this in an assembly file, but the way that you would do it is you would shift click through all these keyframes, and if you had multiples, you would go and grab them all. You would cut the keyframes, insert new symbol, and then paste the keyframes. And so when we do that, it's cut frames, and then insert new symbol. And then once you have that new symbol, you'll have nothing, and you'll control click. I'm clicking on my pen, paste frames, which is grayed out right now because I didn't actually do it. Okay, so that's Lizzie. I think it would be helpful for us to kind of look at the way Tyler is built, although I do want to say that Tyler is probably a little bit more complicated build than what you would need to have. So with that being said, I'm going to click into him. This is made by KCAD students for a group project. I'm going to double click into Tyler, and we can see how Tyler functions. Kind of that lovely little stretch that he's got. If I click in on Tyler's head, I'm going to zoom in on it. If I click in on Tyler's head, that's a symbol. So I'm going to be able to get into Tyler head here and see how those eyebrows move and everything. I do think it will be helpful for you to open up one of these files and take a look at how it functions. You can build your character based on this process as well. And just kind of looking at the way other people make other files is helpful. This turtle character does this smear spinning, which because we're doing game design, you might end up doing something similar to that as well. That's actually just it's one image that's just flipped. So you don't have to draw everything. Try to find ways to flip characters in order to give them the feeling that you're looking for. See how it's flipping? So if we go into the turtle tank and we'll take a look at how these assets are built. They're just spinning the same thing, but we'll look at the animals. I think it's inside of here, and then the tank spin. Oh, I guess I don't have what would be a true assembly file. This is really the animation file. It's helpful to have an assembly file, but all right. So just looking at some of these characters, the My Little Pony, Pinky, the way that those function, it's just a pose of the bent legs to the stretched out legs. It feels like she's doing that action. So don't try to do all kinds of tweenings. In fact, this doesn't have any tweens. It's just doing the jump without the tweens. So if I start here, that's the anticipation. And then the next keyframe is she's standing up. And then the next keyframe, you're just pulling up the character and stretching these legs out a little bit. Then going to this keyframe. Let me make this bigger so that we can see. 400%. That's not going to be helpful. Then a little action up there, and then she starts to settle. And so there's some movement in there. And then we've got the compression from her landing. So yeah, so that's Pinky. Max has very similar setup to Lizzie, a lot of different mouths. We've got the asset of that moving piece. So just think about simplifying like those special effects, like Max has the spinning light. Think about how few that you might need to be able to access what you need for that. Okay, so that's some files to look at. I just wanted to show you, hopefully that's somewhat helpful. Today, when I review your files, I'll give you some tips and clues as to how to move forward with your pieces, okay? Does anybody have any questions before we jump into the individual reviews? All right, so today is really a big work day. We're looking forward to having, if I jump into the calendar in the future here, I think I need to share a different screen. Share the calendar, okay. Today is November 2. We're working on the animate resting pose, and then all the way through Wednesday, we're making assets in Animate for the character break. So we're going to continue to do that with the goal of trying to get all of the assets done by the 9th, because we'll start doing the animation test here. So there's a lot of labor that takes to be able to make all the assets. For example, I've got like 12 different mouths. You might just have like 2 different mouths. You're going to be building the different mouse sets. Maybe you've got, like when I showed you Pinky, I've had the anticipation pose with her legs squished. You've got the squished pose of her leg, and then the extended pose of the leg. So looking through what you need for your like you keep going back to your concept image and you think about what you would need to build this pose to this pose. This is actually going to be the same leg here to here. It's just potentially a little bit of a tip or something like that. Then you wouldn't need to actually build another piece to it. So you're not necessarily animating right now. You're just thinking about how, like, for sure you need a different asset for this. Which is the explosion up. So you're going to do that drawing in Animate in your rendered look is part of your goal. But today you might actually just be working still on your resting pose and getting that style done, okay? All right. Welcome in, Amber. We're doing individual reviews soon. Is 10:30 going to be a good time slot for you?
Yeah, I've been in here the whole time.
Oh, someone else just joined in. I'm sorry about that, Amber. Was it Kaylee?
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, so Kaylee, you're gonna have a 10 o'clock time slot for your review. And okay. if you need to have an asynchronous day in order to go vote, go ahead and do that and just give me your file. But if you're going to do that, you need to write down that you're going to do an async review. Okay, oh, I was also going to show you how to export files. So let me take us back to into Animate. I'll take us to Lizzie and out to her main assembly, and rest her here. This is her resting pose. Because we wanted to show you, some of you, when you're entering stuff on the slideshow, you might be making it so that it's like 75% or something, and we get lines that don't show up right. So if you're going to do the screenshot process, please do it at 100%. And also go to view and preview mode and turn on full if you're going to do the screenshot process. The other way, which is actually probably even better, is to go to File, Export, Export Image. And here it comes, not as a GIF, but as a JPEG. Oh, it's really coming across weird. 60 quality is what we usually do. I don't know why I don't see all of that other stuff. I'm going to just kind of hope to trust it. Wow. I'm going to hit save. And Lizzie Rigby inside of 2D character design. Save it. And then you always want to check a file when you're done with it. So I know that I paused my screen. But just a second while I show you. Just share the whole screen. So here's Lizzie right here, and you can see that it's okay. So if I grab this and drag it onto there, that is that file. And that should give you much cleaner stuff if you're using lines and it's starting to look a little janky because of the screenshots. The exporting, making a JPEG is a smaller file anyways than the PNGs of the screenshots. So that would be the recommendation there. Okay, well, let's break up into our groups and we'll see you all soon. So I'm going to make a couple of breakout groups. Okay, so we're taking a look at Nick's piece on the Duratanopia. Yeah, so it has more of a yellow feel now than I think it did before. So you could pump it up a little bit by pushing more yellow, but that's up to you. I think it functions just fine right now.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Look at how cute he is. So you're using the gradations, and actually these are really beautiful the way that they're rigged together, and you don't see the shift too much. That's really, I know that that's challenging to make happen, Nick. So good job on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. What do you think, Cherith? How do you think it turned out for Nick?
I think it turned out really well. I really like the gradients.
Thank you.
Okay, so have you tried doing any of the special effects or anything yet, Nick?
No, not yet.
Okay, let's take a look at your file and kind of analyze that. So I'll stop my share and you can share yours.
Okay, see my screen?
I do, yeah, awesome.
Perfect.
Okay, so you have folders like we were showing you in that other set. So why don't you kind of walk us around your file and let me see how you've set it up.
Okay, so I broke up most parts into separate things. So like this tree base here has a little bit of shadow to it, not like a ton, just a little to add, and then the base itself is separate from like the leaves, so the leaves can move.
Mhm.
The face is all broken up, but
Hold
in
on a
one
second. I
folder.
think that that shadow probably can actually live inside of the base of the tree. So as much as you can merge it at this point would be
Okay.
helpful.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's going to actually move separate at all, the shadow
Oh
and
yeah.
stuff. Do you know? Okay, so merge layers is actually a new thing, but it looks like it did something crazy, right?
Yep.
Okay, Command Z or Control Z.
Yeah.
Click on your tree shadow layer and unlock both of these two layers. Okay, go to the keyframe because I think we're forward in time. So click
Yep.
on the keyframe and cut it. So Command X. Okay, good. Now go to the tree base and Command Shift V. Okay, now click off and let's see if it functioned the way that you wanted it.
Here, let me-
It didn't because it's went darker, right?
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Would you zoom out a second?
Mhm.
I kind of like that higher contrast personally, but it was probably had a transparency, right?
Yeah, it
Was the
did.
way, yeah. So maybe you just take that dark tone and just make it a little bit lighter in its fill instead of having
Yeah.
a transparency on top of it would be my recommendation.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, so any way that you can, and this goes for everybody, any way that you can merge layers that don't get animated, that's going to clean up your file so you don't have a ton of things. That would be kind of an industry standard.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see this face because that's where a lot
Yeah.
of the animation, nose, mouth, eyebrows, and
The
eyes.
nose is
Okay.
separate. The mouth, the eyebrows, and the eyes are all
Uh-huh.
on separate layers.
Uh-huh. You have that little glint in the eye. Looks like it's not on the eye layer. Is that correct?
No, it is. Yeah.
Oh, there's just a negative something underneath it. Okay, I see.
Oh,
Yeah.
is there? Shoot.
It'll be okay because oh, no, it's just a
Oh.
redraw issue for me. Mhm.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, good. And have you turned these into symbols yet, Nick?
No, not yet. I wanted to make sure that everything was approved and okay before
Yeah,
I did
yeah.
that.
Um, go to your library for me. Click on your library on the top right. Okay, so you just have the image there. So at this point, there's two different ways that you can do this, and this is true for everybody. You can turn the arm, for example, into a symbol, and then start making different arm poses. Maybe you have one that's really a bent, but I think that this is actually just a rig because they're kind of just bones, right? You're probably not going to bend the pencil part, right?
Yeah.
So that they're done in their rigging. The only thing that would have different rig parts, like have you analyzed what you would need to make for your different rig parts? It's probably we had your
Yeah.
smile and your eyes probably.
Yeah. Basically, everything on the body will be able to just move around, but then just the face is like stuff I'll need to make new assets for.
And then also the tree does some acting too.
Yeah, it's gonna
Uh-huh.
drop a few leaves, so I'll need to add leaves, and then the little white flag prop for his defeat animation.
Okay, let's click into the tree because that would be a good one to look at.
Sure.
So go to your tree and your tree. Okay, so you just need to then make a new keyframe. Your next step is make a new keyframe for when they do those leaf drop. You might have two or three assets there. So as you see, when you went down the timeline, everything disappeared, right?
Yeah.
So I recommend going down the timeline to like right about here and make new keyframes all the way across. So it's just a blank keyframe. So with all the arrows open.
There we go.
Okay. Now, like, go to frame 70 and shift click through all of these. You'll have to unlock everything.
Yeah. That.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then control click, or if you have a pen, you can click on the top button. Insert
Blank
blank.
keyframe.
I think so, yeah. Yep. Okay, so now when you go down the timeline to add something new, it won't make it. So let's go back to that tree base. So go. Yeah. Well, it wasn't. Yeah, it was the leaves that we were gonna do. So.
Yeah. Oops.
Oh,
okay.
it disattached. There you go. Mhm.
Yeah, trying to. There we go.
So in Nick's animation, the tree kind of moves this way, right? And then starts dropping leaves is kind of the process.
Yeah, it's gonna like
Mhm.
shake back and forth, I think, and then
Mhm.
drop leaves.
So you're gonna go 2 down, or you can, like, when we rig, you can make it every keyframe. Go ahead and make it on number 2. So,
Okay.
and then insert a keyframe. Yeah, so it's not a blank, and what that gives you is this is a little black button now, right? And so it's the same thing, and then you would just add to it. So if you're just going to add your leaves, you can just kind of like sketch in your little leaf things.
Yeah, like falling down.
Yeah, go
And
ahead and
then
do
this
it. Go
would
ahead and do it right now. Just kind of put 2 little leaves falling, just kind of
Okay.
little dots.
Yeah. So then also on this keyframe, that's where I would shift it over to make it look like it is moving.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
hmm And you can use that envelope warp method.
Yep.
And you
That's,
remember that from the last time?
Yep. That's what
Okay.
we used on the mouth a little bit.
Yep. Yep. Okay. So yeah, go ahead and draw a couple little leaves, and we'll just take a look at how that functions.
Okay, here, I'll zoom in a bit.
You could use just your paintbrush on this sort of thing, but yeah,
Oh, that's
and then just fill it.
Oh, I don't know why that disappeared. There we go.
Okay, and then just scrub that timeline, and you'll see that it functions in that way, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're starting to have your first asset set. I wouldn't make your symbols yet. I don't think it's necessary. Just kind of make all of the things that you need for all of your poses.
Okay.
And we'll work on the symbol creation next time.
Okay.
I think you're set, Nick. I think you've got this.
All right. Awesome.
So yeah, congrats to you.
Thank you.
You may consider having a shadow underneath him, and then I think that would help, actually.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that easy.
Mm-hmm. If you look at the Lizzie stuff, the shadows are just pretty simple. Let me go back to here.
Okay.
Do you see my screen? So do you see this little shadow?
Yeah, yeah.
And sometimes we have a tendency to make the shadows really complicated, but if you're going to have it animate, you don't want to really move that shadow too. So just have it be sort of like, for Lizzie, it's a square essentially, just a simplified.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And when we analyze this, yeah, you'll need to start making this kind of assets too, and your flag.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But basically, it's puppeted. You don't have too much shift. You might have, this one might be a stretch. You might stretch that to push that idea.
Yeah.
And yeah, it looks like you don't even have any turns of the faces. So
nope.
yeah, yours is a very simple rig. Awesome. Okay, good stuff, Nick.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, Cherith, do you have any other thoughts for Nick as he moves forward?
No, I think he's doing really well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Cherith. Well, let's see what the file looks like on here. Did you get a screenshot onto here already?
Yeah, I think it's
Or
like
a progress image? I'm sorry, what was that?
I think it's like slide 73.
Okay, thank you. Cool. Okay, yeah, you have the whole of the character. Nice. Okay, so let's see how it looks in Animate. If you could
All right.
share your screen.
I-
Okay, so Cherith has it's a cyborg, right?
it's a robot.
Frog
Kind of.
combo. Good. Can you zoom out a little bit so we can see the whole of it?
Yep.
All right. So I'm a little bit wondering right now about the depth of the character. Let me grab my annotation. Because I get a little lost right here and how things are connected. Like I can see that that's that arm, right? But I'm wondering if there's a way that we can, you're not using shadows right now.
Right.
Like I get a little lost in this part too. Nick, do you have any ideas for that? Is that something that you feel like needs some improvement too, or is it just me? Nick, are you there?
Oh, whoops, sorry. I was
Maybe
muted.
you were muted. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Any ideas for that? I mean, I would do like drop shadows maybe. So maybe actually lighten this part and then have the dark right here.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I would agree. It would help to add some depth to the character because you don't need like a ton. It doesn't need to be super rendered out, but it would help to break up like that really just dark, like black part of the body.
Well, you can do it by, is it metal?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. You might just pick up a highlight on it. Might be one way to
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
And kind of like run a highlight just on this. And I think that though that might be all that you need. You don't need a ton of lighting on it, but when you have black as one of the forms, we kind of sink into it a little bit, maybe too much. What do you think, Cherith? Do you agree on it or?
Yeah, I agree. I was just I was gonna do lighting from the jar that he's holding. I just haven't done the jar yet.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that could help solve it all. Where is the jar going to be? It's in this hand, right? So yeah. So if you do, that's in his back area. I don't know if it will solve this part.
I was considering having this part glow as well, but I don't know if that would light here.
Oh, that would absolutely fix it because like his belly is glowing, right? And it would light behind there a little bit and keep this top part darker, but this would glow right in here.
Okay.
I think that will do it. So that's something to explore today and see how that helps that. Your lines look fantastic. I see that there's one area that might just need a little cleanup right there.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And so that's just a very simple little thing. But yeah, are you, yours is also because it's kind of based on the human body. You won't need to do too many. It's really going to puppet across. So it's really about moving it. Like it looks like your foot poses. You have a couple different feet poses. And you might need to draw this connecting point. So what I would recommend actually for you, Cherith, is you kind of have your 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. right? I would go down the timeline and make keyframes. So insert keyframe, insert keyframe, insert keyframe, and have this be 2, 3, 4. Okay. So actually for you to start blocking in the animation, and then you'll see if you need this to be a different pose set.
Okay.
But for you, because we're going to do that, I would like you to turn them into symbols now. Okay. So what you would do is, let's do it with the head first. You have head. So unlock it and click on it and it would select it. Well, if you click on the keyframe, then it will select all. Sometimes you have to hit Command All, because Command A or Control A, because sometimes it doesn't get everything. And then go to Insert, or actually, I'm sorry, Modify, Convert to Symbol, and then call it the Truckee head and change it from movie clip to graphic clip. Okay, good. And now you have the head. And if you go to your library over here on the top right, Zoom might be on top of it, but see, now you have your head, and you would start to have all of your assets kind of listed there, like I've been showing you with Lizzie. So your next step right now, like I think you might want to render out that that glowing stuff that we had talked about first before you do all of these assets. But essentially you're gonna fix that part, and then make the arm, like make each one of these into a symbol, and then you can bring them along here. You can also drag it onto the stage or onto the timeline is the other thing that you can do with symbols too, Cherith.
Mhm.
Okay, so do you get the process there?
Yeah.
First render just a little bit more and fix that 1 foot part, and then go through and make symbols and start to block out your animation. This is actually a good example for all of the other students that are listening to this recording right now to do this process. Nick's piece didn't have, we're not making symbols, but Nick, you're gonna probably make symbols after a little bit of process, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
As noted at the bottom of the slide, I have a quick question.
Sure. Yeah, we can go over cell shading questions. The character, I really like the simplicity of the cell shading right now, the way that you have it.
Mhm.
Some of my recommendations will be to try to pop this arm right here off a little bit more.
Okay.
And then I think also if you have a slightly darker background, it will help us to see the character more, because right now the background is like a flashlight behind.
Mhm.
So that will help. Not sure if you have a 3:1 contrast ratio on the face up here yet.
Yeah.
You might need to have just another layer of highlights running along the face and eye and lip.
Okay.
That part, just a quick one. And that wouldn't be unusual to have like a more detailed something up there. Or you could do it with gradients, because you have some gradients running, right?
Mhm.
That might be the better approach. So starting with dark on this side of the chin and then going towards lighter on just a little bit of light along the edge of the nose to mouth.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So let's see your file. Why don't you share your screen, and we'll help you with your cell shading questions.
Okay.
Thyakos Zatari is the tiefling's name. Is that right? Did I pronounce that right?
Yes.
Cool. Okay, so we're inside your file, and let's, it looks like you're doing really well with the folders. Can you, let's just analyze these folders a little bit. Can you open them up and let me see what you've got? And the eyes. Okay, open up those eye folders. Let me see those. Good. Okay. Good. Very nice. Okay, you can shut those out now. Let's start by making the background color a little bit like a little mid-gray.
Okay.
So go down to your background, like you might not even have one yet. You can just make one. For your animation test, are you going to be running any sort of like background? Have you thought about that? Is that like a simple background, or do you want to just put color in there right now?
I'm not entirely sure yet.
Hmm.
I just think because this rig does have a lot of parts to it, I
Mhm.
might just have to do like a color
Yeah,
due to time.
sometimes we just have like uh, what is this called? Ground plane. I'm not saying it right. Vanishing point. No, it's not that. It's what is that line? Horizon line.
There we go.
That's the word. Okay, but for right now, if you just grab that box and make a box with a color that makes sense, keeping it inside of there. Yep. And then so do you see how he actually pops out more now
Hmm.
with that lighting? And you might even want to do, like, I think that's beautiful what we've got running now. So that's a good color set. You might just want to make sure that it jumps off and like
Yeah.
directly on here, and then get rid of your lines too. So it's giving me reminiscence of the Prince character that you did, that once we put that dark road color on it, it started to really pop with your lighting. So
Yeah.
cool. My headphones just did the I'm dying thing, so I have about 10%. If I don't hear you, I'll have to fix them. So my initial thought too is that your lighting is coming from maybe two different locations, and I'm a little confused by that. Can you zoom out? Okay, so it looks like on the puffy sleeves, it's coming from this way, but on his legs, it's coming from this direction.
Right. It's supposed to be coming from this way. I just thought through here because like the sleeve is over
Oh, that's the drop shadow.
this part
Okay.
here.
You may
And then
need
this
to
could be like
then
reflected light.
do some lighting there. That will help
Yeah.
that. Yeah. That's exactly what that needs. Yeah. So this is your highest contrast right now. And we want to kind of
Mhm.
bring it right along this edge with just a little bit of highlight right like in kind of that shape is what I'm
Okay.
hoping for. So what are your questions about cell shading?
It's more of a technical question for like when we start animating these, because I have the entirety of the shading on one layer
Oh,
because I could not figure out how to get the cell shading and the gradient in the same spot without ruining one of them.
Okay, so not a big deal. What we'll want to do is, let's see, turn that eyeball on and off again on your shading. Okay, cool. Let's take the leg, because that's going to be like the easiest thing to talk about first. So this
Okay.
is, do you have the leg as one asset? Is it already on one layer?
I should.
Okay,
I have like a couple of
good.
layers.
Okay,
Like I have the
so
pants and
right,
the boots
because
on.
it would be, this would be one asset, and then it would go like this. That's the way that these shapes should look.
Okay. I didn't quite do that. I just did the boot itself and then the bit with his pants.
Right. Okay. So let me get another marker over here. So it would look like that, and it would go down to the knee. That would be one asset. And then in blue,
Mhm.
I'm going to draw that would be the other asset. So it would have this overlap kind of a thing. So you have you've got it with right now boot and leg. You need to bring them all onto one layer.
Okay.
So let me help you with this. And I'm recording this because a lot of people will need to do this thing too. And then we'll bring the light onto it too. That's the next step.
Okay.
So let's let's zoom in to like this big. Okay. And get the leg, the full of the leg on. Good. Okay. To help me to understand, can you turn off eyeballs on stuff that is not the legs for me?
Just like this background stuff,
Like
basically.
any of like this stuff I don't want on right now.
Okay.
but keep the highlight on that same layer that you have. You're calling it shading, yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have like his, you probably did it by like those are his shorts and then the boots, right? That's all probably one thing. And then the hands
Yeah.
and your sash thing. You probably have that all on separate layers,
Yeah.
right?
I think that's just, yeah.
I think the sash, are you gonna like animate the sash? Is that gonna be a part of what happens?
I
You could
probably
kind
will
of like
have
wiggle
to.
these things or something.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just
So I would
because it
leave
has
the,
some of those elements.
yeah, I would leave the sash on a separate layer.
Yep.
But okay, good. So let's turn the shading off for right now. Good. Okay, so I'm gonna clear my drawings and we have, so this is all one, is that right?
Actually, I have them
Okay,
as two separate legs.
turn anything from this leg off. I want to have that off.
Is that the right one?
That's, yeah, that's fine. You can just leave it like that. Good. So we can see the separation. Okay, so now we want to select this and this, but first, before we do that, we want to kind of make a line like right about there. So get your selection tool, the lasso tool.
Yeah, I had to plug my tablet in real quick.
Okay. Grab your lasso and make your a selection like kind of like how I did.
So just like through here. Ah, oh, it's locked. Stop it. There it does.
Go ahead and
it's
lock
selected the
your background layer.
Yep.
Mhm.
So just sort of like,
Good. Now, because of the way that you selected it, go to this layer and turn it off. Don't go to the layer part. I don't know where it is. It's called, is this left and right, or is it the other way around? Right, left?
it's the other way around, just the way we're looking at them.
Okay, so turn off the right thigh, I think is what you're calling it. Pants, is that what you're calling it? Okay, turn that off.
That's
That's
the
good.
left.
Yeah, we want this one. Okay, cut. So Command X. Okay, now go to, we want this asset. So it should be called probably thigh. Theclos right thigh.
Am I making a new layer here?
You could, unless, well, what did you call this stuff? What was this before?
The darker brown was just pants. Like,
Okay, so call it,
right pants.
go to his right pants. Okay, and now edit, paste, shift and place, but it's Command Shift V or Control Shift V. Okay, good. Now turn the eyeball off on this. Good, now it's all one. Perfect. Turn the eyeball off again. Now we need to make the rig. I'm going to do another drawing. You need, so click off and turn the eyeball off on the pants. Okay, now you need to go and make this kind of a shape with this filled on this layer.
yes.
Okay, I'll undo my drawing.
Am I doing it with the selection tool, or do I just need to do like pencil
To
tool?
get a brush, you can do a brush, or you can do the align tool and just kind of add to it.
I'm gonna bring myself in just about. So just something kind of like that.
Perfect. And then K for the dumper. Well, first pick from this tone. So click right in here. Okay, and then dump. Good. And then I want you to grab the V tool, V, and I want you to click right here. Okay, good. So now grab your eraser tool. I was just checking to see sometimes there's a line from the separation. Grab your eraser tool, set it to line, and erase that with big. Oh, you should just be able to swap really big
Ah!
if you use the bracket tools.
It decided it wanted to scroll. I don't know why.
Mhm. Okay, so then you'll just clean up those points,
Yeah.
Michaela. But that's the process
Okay.
for how it's going to function, and you'll need to do that with all of your assets. So anything that was like pants on top of thighs needs to kind of get merged into parts that will move. So start to think about parts that will move. Those will become one part, and that's how you'll finish off your resting pose.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. My headphones just are breaking up, so let me finishing off the character rig.
None other than the shading question, but I'm assuming
Oh,
we're
right. So
getting
the
to that.
shading. So let's go. Let's zoom out again because you have shading on that part, right? And don't
Should I
turn
turn the rest of this back on?
Don't turn it on. We just want to fix it for this because I think that it will teach you how to do it.
Okay.
So you have like a layer called shading somewhere up there.
Yes. It's right
So
here.
turn that on. So the same thing. Now we just fixed the thigh. So you need to cut from the shading for this part. It would be like that. You need to cut it and then put it onto the thigh, like above the thigh layer. Oh, but it's tricky because you have like, so I wouldn't cut it, I would copy it, and I'll show you how to do that because you have lots of stuff that's close to it and everything, okay? So let's see more because we need to see up here too. So if you could get your box to kind of go like that, that would be ideal for zooming.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Just sort
Go
of like
down
this.
a little bit. Yep, that's good because we go down a little bit because we need to see up here. Good. Okay. Okay. So what we're going to do is called a messy selection, where we're going to. Do you have everything? I want you to lock everything down below in the leg stuff. Okay. And now I want you to grab that selection tool and just kind of go and do this. Yeah. Okay. So you have the shading selected and it should go over the knee, hopefully. And then I want you to Command C or Control C. Are you on a PC or Mac? Okay.
I'm on a PC.
Okay. Control C.
Okay.
Okay. Turn the eyeball off. Okay. Now go to this thigh layer. Okay. And right above it. So is it called pants? Right leg pants? Okay.
Yes.
Make a new layer above it and call it right Theakos right leg pant shading. Okay. And Command Shift V. Good. Okay. Clicking off.
Yeah, I had it on like a multiply layer
Yep.
to make
So you're
it
going to have
shading.
to continue that.
Can I have that? Thank you. There.
Okay. And click off. Is it the right color?
Yep.
Why is this because this is in front?
Yeah,
turn-
it's in front of it.
Turn off this leg layer underneath.
Nope. There it is.
Okay, so now, now we have to delete this other stuff.
Mhm.
Tricky. So let's see, this one's easy enough. Go and click it and it will grab it. Delete. And I think that goes up into it. So
Yeah.
you're gonna have to, you might end up having to use mass for this. The correct way to do this would have been to make a line and then dump it with your color.
Mhm.
So, but you've got this above it.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, because like I said, I wanted both the effect of the color gradients and the cell shading, and I could not figure out how to get them both without.
Well, I can show you how to do it. I kind of feel like that is going to be better than what we're than trying to get the selection to completely match up, because you
Mhm.
can't do that unless we mask, and masking's horrible to work with animation.
Okay.
So let me I think it's not going to be as hard as we think. What I want you to do is grab the dumper tool. Underneath it is the ink bottle tool. Click on
Okay.
it. Okay. Go to your swatches, which is over here for you. And you haven't loaded the universal color. I want
I
you
have
to get
not.
those.
I keep forgetting to do
Mhm.
that.
But we want a crazy color anyways. Click green.
Okay.
And then ink bottle the edge of your shading. Oh,
Oh, I
Command
didn't
Z, that's black. There you go. Is it? Okay, good. Now you've got it lined, which is helpful. And then now you're going to click on the line and select it, essentially. Okay. Does it go all the way up? We want this too.
Yeah, it does. It's just
Is
on
it-
multiply, so it looks darker.
Okay, so cut that, Command X. Okay, now go to turn off the shading layer and go to this thigh layer and Command Shift. So it's pants and it's just the regular pants layer. Command Shift V. Okay, great. That's your shape. So now click off. Okay, and click on this. Okay, and then what you're going to do is I'm going to teach you about the filling with gradients here. So go to color and linear gradients. I want you to, you're in this brightness thing. If you hit H, you're going to make it look a lot more familiar with the way that we're used to kind of seeing it in Photoshop and stuff.
Okay.
So linear gradient, we just kind of have to remember the colors that you had, go a little bit darker probably. By just taking it down a notch. You're already in it, so just go up to here. Just down a notch. Good. Okay. So click off, and then grab the G tool, which is the dumper tool, which I don't see you have. So click on that ellipsis tool and get.
Oh, it's over here. Why is it over here?
I don't see. Oh, it's because we have the ink bottle tool. So click that and hold it down and get the other and get this K tool. Okay. Now just dump right here. Okay. We have this lock on, so you need to hit G, which is the gradient transform tool. It's underneath the Q tool, which is the transform tool if you don't want to use shortcuts. F is actually, yeah. So click on it, click here. Okay, and you have to move these in. So whatever that other tool was here where it was the lock fill, you want to switch it to the other thing because it's like way over here.
Okay.
So
Hello. There it is.
that's actually the center of it. Yeah. So bring it over. So there, now you're working with the gradients. So my recommendation is to have it lighter on this side and darker like that, but like you just need to work in and make sure you have the right kind of color. I highly recommend doing it this way. And I know that this is going to be a lot of work for you, Michaela, but it's not good to have masking over top. So this is the correct way to do it.
Okay.
Okay. So after you like that, then you'll go and you'll erase this crazy green line. And we made it crazy green so that we could find it.
Okay.
So that's setting up the rig. There'll be a lot of work doing that and making the colors the way you want it.
Yeah.
But it won't be on multiply above. That's kind of a Photoshop process. The way that we do it in Animate is we work directly on that layer.
Right.
Okay. And if you analyze the Lizzie file, like they're all set up that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, it's gonna be a lot of work.
It's okay.
Okay.
I mean, now that I figured it out, it should probably go pretty smoothly.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Time on the machine.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay, Susie, let's see where do you have any more questions, Michaela?
No, I'm good for now.
Okay. Susie, let's see where you're at. Let me share my screen with the rig stuff. And here's cool. This is your initial idle rig right now.
Yes.
Susie, it looks
I'm
great.
gonna add gradients and cell shading to it eventually, but that's what I got so far.
So you just saw how with Michaela's, we're putting the gradients directly on each layer. So that
Yeah.
will be important. I think that will be helpful for you to have seen. Yeah, let's have you open up your file and let me just annotate really quickly here. These lines that you have here, these are the ones that I would remove.
Yeah, I'll remove those. I just needed to know where I was gonna put stuff.
Great, good. So let's see your file.
Okay, let me.
I like your icon.
Thank you. My friend made it for me.
Yeah. Said like anonymity. What are you trying to say there? What's your friend trying to say?
It's just like a style choice. It's just for aesthetic.
Okay. Okay, so let's analyze this rig. Let's have you open up the layers or the folders. Yeah, that looks great. Okay. Looks like you're setting it up really nicely. So your next stage is to just run those gradients and we just kind of went through a demo on that with Michaela. So I totally approve your rig setup. Click on, let's just check it out. Let's, and Michaela might be able to see kind of what that looks like. Click on that thigh area. Or it's actually probably called leg.
Oops.
And turn it off, turn the eyeball off. Right, that's the other one. But yeah, you can see how it's kind of like a toy, the way that toys are kind of set up to puppet around, Michaela.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks really good. What I would recommend for you at this point too is to run a little shadow underneath him and then to go a little bit darker, just like we did with Michaela's in your background, so that when you do have lighting, it will pop out a little bit more.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So he's got 4 eyes, huh? Wow,
Mm-hmm.
that's cool. And they're red. They're actually a little hard to see right now. I wonder if like glowing them a little bit or something might be good.
Yeah, I don't have the universal swatches yet, so I'll have to do that eventually.
Yeah, do both of you know where to grab those universal swatches?
No.
Okay.
I do, but
Let
go
me
ahead and show.
Let me show Susie where to get them, okay? So actually it might be better for you to share your screen. Well, I'll just share mine and I'll give you the link then.
Okay, do you want me to
Um,
stop sharing my screen then?
I got it.
Okay.
So universal color, there's a section for it. If I click on universal color, and this is the color palette, but we want the CLR swatch file. So it's right here, and I'll put this in the chat for you to grab. Okay, Susie, it's in the chat.
Okay.
And Michaela, you might as well go get that too, since you're in on it. Okay. All right. So I think you guys are both doing really great. The art is looking fantastic. So it's just more rendering and separating out your rigs. Okay. Like keeping the rig separate. Susie already has that. Michaela, you're working towards that.
Yep.
Okay. Any more questions before I let you go work?
Nope.
Do
Okay.
we just-
good?
Susie?
Do we just leave then?
Yeah, you can just leave and we'll see you at 9 o'clock next class.
Okay.
Okay,
All
bye.
right. See ya.
So obviously I'm getting a little bit further. These are broken up into chunks. It's just I'm shifting them over in the one group.
As
So that's
onto the assets. Okay,
Yeah.
good, good. Very nice. Have you turned them into symbols yet or not yet?
this her entirely is a graphic symbol.
Okay,
Can you do symbols within symbols? I think you can.
yep, yep.
Then
So
I'll have to
inside
do
of
that.
inside of this symbol would be torso, right arm, right forearm, things like that, hand.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I'll have to go through and
So-
sort them out that way then too as well.
So I'm curious about the way that you're building it. If you're, so like your hands, are they set up to be like just by themselves without the empty spot? Or do you have the full hand poses?
Some of them, yes, for ones that have more hand motion to them.
Mhm.
So these are separate from the forearms. But for this one, there's going to be a lot less hand motion. So maybe the fingers might move slightly, but there wouldn't be enough to make it necessary to separate them from the forearms.
So when we build things for rigs, let me, can you turn everything off but like the hand stuff? And then I'm going to show you something over on my end over here.
Gotta go find hands.
And then I'm going to share my screen and we'll take a look at the way the Tyler rig is set. But this is more complicated probably than the way that yours needs to be built. But we need to be able to see the full hand, not have them covered up. And I'm kind of thinking that some of yours might be covered up because of the way that you're building it.
Okay.
So that's something to know, that way anybody can take it and just move and place the hands in there as needed. So that's the way that we need to build them. And the way that it works is it just goes down the timeline. You just build more and more hands. Let me show you that in Animate. So here's the Tyler file. And if I click into him and I go to library, Tyler, torso. See, here's his torso, his sleeves. You can kind of see based on the way that the rigging is built. So right now you're kind of matching your drawing, which is fantastic. You just need to continue to watch and make sure that they're built in the way that you would have all of the hands. separate. And I'm just using the hand as an example. Let's
Mhm.
see if I can find that hand in here. H hand, here we go. So if I double click into here, this is all the hand poses. So you might only need like 2 or 3. You might not need all of them like the way that Tyler has. So you just go down the timeline and you make a new frame for each drawing that you would use that you would need for your hands. So when you're drawing your stuff like over here and then moving it over top, that's perfect the way that you're doing that. It's just that you'll need to set it up in this way that they move down the timeline like that.
Alright.
Okay. All right, let's go back to yours and kind of look at it.
So then mine are incomplete then. I'll have to go through and rework them because I've just got them in chunks. But that's
Yeah.
what's the confusing part is because sometimes the palm will go behind the forearm, so it's not a complete hand.
But that's right. And you'll still need those fingers separate because they're on top. They would be like on top. So you might need to have like 2 parts to your hand because you have hands that do this overlap thing.
Okay.
So that's correct the way that you have those fingers right now.
Okay.
Mhm. This part is correct.
Alright.
But like these poses, like you've got that, and then it looks like you have this pose set. So that would just be on top of it in different poses. Like I can see this hand being a pose, this hand being a pose. And you actually don't need to build, hands are just hands. We can swap them left to right by flipping them. So you really only need to think about drawing one hand and then we can swap it. But, and then in your timeline, you would call it left or right, but in your library, you would call it hand.
Okay.
All right, so I mean, even the same thing can even go with your boots because you could probably do the swap, but I would still probably call it left and right boot.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions other than that? That's the only thing that I'm seeing that might need adjustment by looking at your file, Kelly.
Yeah, I think I just need to condense things down. Oh, actually, hang on. For this arm, the way I've been doing all this kind of wrinkly thing, I think it might save me a lot of time. I'll have to go through and redo them though. Is to change it so that it looks more like this, where it's just because it'll save time and it makes the process go by a little bit quicker. And I know that.
Yeah, that's a simpler way to draw it. You're
yes.
Right.
So
it's
I
not
think,
like 3-dimensional. That's good.
Yeah.
It's got the edge of the arm on there instead of wrinkle, 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 wrinkle.
yeah.
You're right. Good. Yeah, that's a good solution. We had talked about simplifying that. That's a different solution than we talked about, but I like it.
Okay.
I
Sweet.
like it a lot. Good job. Okay. I do recommend a darker background because your glow stuff, it's still a little bit hard to see. That's just a simple thing too. So
I think that might be because this is still visible.
oh yeah, that will.
Yeah.
Let's
It's
see
just
that.
lower
Let's
the-
see that blue stuff on top of that now.
Or-
Or I think you have it on this or something. All right, because it's going to be quite a bit darker. You have like, oh, I see what you're doing. I think it'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, great. Good job.
Sweet.
Yeah. Okay.
Do I stop sharing now?
Yeah, I'll stop you. Kaylee, did you have any thoughts for Kelly moving forward?
No, not anything that you didn't say in regards to rigging.
Okay, awesome. Okay, Kaylee, let's take a look at your file. I'll share my slides. Did you put it on there or are we just looking at it on?
No, it's on there.
Okay. Oh, look at, you've got a background now. That's great. He looks fantastic. The shadow is really nice and simple on it. I like the cell shading on your gator belly. Very nice. So are you feeling like you're done with your rendering of him?
Yeah, because I want it to be simple, like
Mhm.
blocked in colors and shading.
Yeah. Well, I think it looks great. So let's analyze your file. Let's have you share your screen with your animate on. Okay, so the first thing that I see is that you're calling it gator resting, but that's just a part of our process. You can probably get rid of that word because it's gonna run the whole sequence of his pose sets
Okay.
along that timeline. So just delete that part of it. He looks great. One thing, did we check for color blindness on yours with the green?
No.
Are you using the universal color swatch set?
No. I
You
I mean I have it. I have to download it every time. So
I can show you how you can make it a default. Go to window, yeah, and then click on it and then replace colors. Well, actually you might not want to replace because you already have
no,
these.
I don't like to replace. I like to just
Yeah.
add.
Add it.
Yeah.
And then find it. And then click on that again, the hamburger window. And then save as default. It's down one.
Oh.
Yeah, and now you'll say yes. And when you open up a new animate file, that will be your default color set.
Okay.
With your gators. And you can delete those if you needed to for a different something, but they're still sitting there. Okay, scroll down a bit so that we see the universal colors. So the greens look like they might be okay because they're quite yellow to me. Like they look like they would be in here. So that's cool. I'm going to share my screen and just run the test in Chrome here. Do you see Chrome?
Yeah.
I'm going to run the Dirtinopia color test. So that's the way he looks. So he does have some yellow within him. And because this background is so blue, it's popping. Green's tricky. Is this feeling okay to you in terms of the color?
Yeah. I mean, I think as long as it's readable and I
It
think
feels
it is.
separate. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think it's functioning as well. So we'll go back. Let's put it on Duratonomaly, which is more likely, this is still colorblind, but it's more likely to be it's going to be within a range of Dirtinopia to Duratonomaly. So this is functioning pretty well. So cool. Okay, and then back, you see that now that's brighter if you have regular color vision. Okay, so I don't think that you need to adjust that, Kaylee. I think it's going to be good. So can you reshare your screen now so we can see
Yeah.
where you're at in the process? Okay. Okay, walk us through what you have for your assets. Let's look at the tail. So turn the eyeball off on all of the assets except for the tail. Okay. So this may need to be like this. Did the body just kind of run up against it, or is it on top of? Oh,
Kind of
okay.
like overlapping. And I just realized that some of those spots need to be on the tail, not the body layer. But
I'm not sure if it's overlapping enough to really do a rig. So I would like you to have the body on top, kind of as big as I have it here.
okay.
And let me see everything but the little arms. So you have arms like right here or something, I think.
You want legs too?
Yeah, you might as well. Just go ahead and just turn off the torso.
Said you don't want the torso?
Yeah, turn the torso off and we'll take a look at how you're. Yeah, this is good. See how it's got that rounded edge? That's perfect. I want to see the other good rounded edge. And turn off the tail for me. Good. This may be too sharp. This may need to have like a little bit of a roundness to it because sometimes we end up seeing that edge of it. And then let me see what the torso top looks like. It should be rounded. Good. Yeah, you might have too sharp of points, so you might need to round them off a little bit. It's hard to draw with my finger up there. I'm gonna move the screen so it's on my Cintiq. But do you understand what I'm saying, Kaylee?
Yeah, I know.
Rounding the assets. Okay. And then are you going to do, what are you going to, are you going to animate with the mouth and the eyes? Go ahead and turn everything back on. You're right. You need to get those spots, but you know how to move those?
Yeah.
Cut them and, okay. Are you going to animate angry eyes and stuff like that?
Yeah, 'cause he has a little
Open
bit of
mouth.
change in expressions, so
Mhm.
yeah, so they'll just be different like mouth and eye shapes.
Yep. So what I would do is come down this timeline and new keyframe all the way through, shift clicking through all the way, and then start making eyes down the timeline here.
I was gonna do them within symbols.
You can do that. I mean, this is one way where you start just make them and then make the symbol afterwards by turning that. But yep.
Oh, okay.
So the other way, the way that you're talking about is you're going to click on this keyframe, convert it. So you would do modify. Let's do it right now.
So, cause like for example, the mouth is already symbol, and then I was just
Oh, you already have it. Fantastic. Yeah. Okay. So you know that process. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. So after you just kind of clean up some of the roundedness that we're talking about, you're ready to start building out all your symbols.
Okay.
Yep, it looks good. Kelly, do you have any thoughts on the imaging or some of the technical stuff we're talking about?
I think it's pretty well thought out already.
Mm-hmm. What are your special effects? Has he got like, he's got like gator breath or something? He's got like Gatorade, Powerade breath, or?
Yeah,
I'm
when
trying to
he
remember.
drank the energy drink, there would be like flames and stuff.
Flames, right? And you also have, there's like a little can that he holds, right? So that's another asset to build.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so those are all things to start building up.
Okay.
Okay, both of you are doing fantastic, and just keep working, okay?
Okay.
All right, and I'll see you tomorrow probably for our next class, but you're free to go for today. Okay,
right,
bye-bye.
Cool. Bye.
Right, so we had just checked the Dirtanopia over with the No Coffee Color Vision Simulator. Let's run that test right now. Let's fix this color of that. I love the color in full color. Like as a full color sighted person, I think that it's really beautiful. But we probably just need to shift it to the orange. So, which is really weird because it feels very orange when we look at it. It may be also that we could make it darker would be another solution.
Okay.
What
I like
direction?
Darker rather than lighter.
Yeah. So go ahead and click on one of the orange lines. Yeah, let's do it on the face. So what you would do is, yeah, you don't have the universal color. Do you? Let's grab it. So click off and Command Z or Control Z. Okay, and then go to your swatches and load. Do you probably have it already? So hit that hamburger menu and then load, replace colors. And do you have the universal color swatch set?
No, I don't.
Okay, I'm going to put it in the chat for you to download. Okay, it's in the chat. That's a link for you to download.
I think I might have to stop screen sharing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna do that really quick.
Sure. Oh, look
So this
how
is what I
amazing he
actually-
looks. Yeah. I love his mustache.
Thank you.
You should set this 15 frames per second or 24. Let's not do 30. It's going to be too many frames per second. Have you started any rigging along the timeline yet? Probably not, looks like. So you're-
What do you mean by that?
have you
Like-
done any timeline work yet?
No, I'm
Okay.
still
So good. Let's keep it at 24 then, okay?
okay.
Good. And so just developing this, and I think it looks great right now, super clean. You just need to continue to make them.
Yeah.
Your rig is set up so that this arm is like this, and then it's underneath like that. Is that right?
Yep.
So he can bend. Okay. So if you
Yeah.
keep working in that direction, that will be good. Things like this sash, it could eventually end up on the same layer, or it can be above it. And you know about, if you're going to do cell shading, that you're going to make a line and then dump it.
Yeah, I
Okay.
forgot that that was the so I forgot that that was the way to do it, and so today I kind of as I was working it, I was trying to figure out, like, remember how I was doing that.
Uh-huh.
We talked about doing that, and then I figured it out when I was doing these little.
Oh, you've got his, yeah. So
I
did you
did-
do that with a line, or the other way to do it is you have it and then you select it. And then with painting on selection, you just paint over that with a brush, and then that would change it. That's the other way.
Yeah.
Another way to do it is you have it and you make a crazy colored line,
Hmm.
and then you dump it.
Yeah, that's how I've been doing it, or that's how I did it here. I have a question about the gradients though. Is there a way, so I'm running into, like, I'm color picking from here, right?
Mhm.
And the only, so I've just now started, the only stuff that are symbols are his, because you said we're not necessarily working in symbols right now.
Yeah, you don't have to yet. Not until you have your whole resting pose all set up.
Yeah.
But if you want to, you can. So you've got his hair in a symbol, right? It looks like.
Yeah, I have all of his face stuff in symbols just because
Sure.
it's easier for me to work that way.
Yeah.
His
So if you feel comfortable doing that, go ahead and set everything up as symbols.
okay.
And then what you do is then once you're in that symbol and you need like another hair pose because he's going to move in space, right?
Yeah.
Then you would just move down the timeline and make different hair poses.
Right. Yes. So with the gradient, like, I'll click on what I want to. Here, actually, I'll just draw something real quick. Draw something real quick. There we go. And my question. Okay, so I select this, and if I want to do a gradient, I want to pick, like, let's say this green color to start off with, and go to gradient. I don't know how.
It remembers the old one that you did.
Yeah, so.
So what you do is you click on this one, which
Okay.
is going to be your dark. Okay, and then now you go over to here. So you click on the color that you want. It's not picking it, is it? Double click on it. Oops, Command Z. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Go to, yeah, click on linear gradient. Okay. And let me clear my drawings. Can you double click on that? On
The-
this, on the dark swatch, double click. There you go. Now you have your picker. So if you had it in the right spot, you'd be able to pick from it.
I see. Okay, yeah. That's okay, cool. I've just been like going over here
Mm-hmm.
and looking at the number and then remembering it and
Yeah.
doing it that way.
You can paste the number in too if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, that's smart too. I have
And
a sticky note next to
use all that cognitive load to remember your numbers. Yeah, and then now you can add these to swatches once you like them.
Yeah. That's what I've been doing down here.
Okay, good. Did I help you
Yes.
out? It sounds like you have a Roomba going on in the background.
You know, that's every time it's the fan.
Oh, is that your computer fan? Is that
Yeah.
what? Yeah. Uh-huh.
Because I have to animate and Photoshop